Hello YouTube, this is JinSwords bringing you another battle. This is actually an OU battle versus someone named MrKirby4. And as you can see, my team is actually mostly UU and not OU. So I have the Zapdos, which is lower tiered, Credilli, which is lower tiered, along with Machamp and Victini. My Zapdos is actually modest max speed, max special attack, with Thunderbolt, Heat Wave, HP Ice, and of course Agility. My Salamence is Lonely Scarfed with Dragon Claw, Outrage, Earthquake, and Fire Blast to hit the incoming Steel types. And then I have max HP, max special attack, modest Credilli with Recover, Stealth Rock, HP Fighting, and Giga Drain. This Credilli set is not working, but it's been alright. I used to have a Rotom Heat form in its place, but I decided, but this was actually originally an Uber's team, so instead of Victini I had Arceus, and instead of Credilli I had Rotom Heat form, which was actually Specs, and it worked pretty well. But as I made the transition into OU, I had to get rid of Arceus, but I needed another Stealth Rocker, so I brought in Credilli, because I could take the water and electric moves, which I noticed I have some trouble with because a lot of water type moves are Scald, and Salamence doesn't really want to take those. So I developed this Credilli set. It doesn't actually work very well, but it's alright. And then I have a great Metagross set, which is Adamant, Max Attack, Max Speed. It's actually Agility, Hone Claws, Meteor Mash, and Dynamic Punch, which works very well. After +2 accuracy, I actually get, after +2 accuracy, my Meteor Mash is perfect in accuracy, and after +3 Dynamic Punch is perfect accuracy, and Sub Machamp, nothing special, and Jolly Victini, nothing special there, although I do have the Zen Headbutt. So I'm going to lead with my Zapdos, as I did notice on his team that he only has one Pokemon that resists it, being that Pokemon, Roserade. So he leads off with his Skarmory. It's obviously not a favorable matchup for him, so he switches into his Dusknoir, and it does about 50%, and that is really tough decision whether to go for a Thunderbolt. It really wasn't. So I go for another Thunderbolt. Maybe I could take it out next turn due to min-max damage, but he actually lives it with a couple HP, goes for Ice Punch. And that actually reveals to him that I'm leftovers. So I'm going to be able to take him out with another Thunderbolt, regardless of what he switches into, if he wants to switch, but he doesn't switch, which is the wiser decision. And he lets me take him out with his Thunderbolt, so now I'm at an early 6-5 advantage. Now, here's the part which had me beating myself down these next few turns. He goes into his Heatran, and his Heatran is Air Balloon, which means that he's not getting leftover recovery, which can be important later on in the game. So I'm going to go for Thunderbolt, but that does absolutely nothing. That did like 1/3 of his health, which reveals to me that he is the special defensive variant. And he gets his rocks up. I don't actually have a spinner, so those rocks are there to stay, and I'm just going to keep going for Thunderbolt. And as you can see, this has basically been Zapdos Thunderbolting everything. Now I'm just going to go for Lava Plume. Excuse me. He does actually get the burn, which might be important the next turn. As I go for the Thunderbolt, but he switches out into his Roserade, and it does nothing to his Roserade because he resists it, and Roserade is a pretty bulky Pokemon. So here I forget that Roserade is actually naturally faster than Zapdos. And he goes for Sludge Bomb and just takes me out. Clean. I completely forgot about that. Now, here's where the burn might have come into play, because if that burn had not happened, I might have been able to live this Sludge Bomb because I would have been about 50%. But alas, my Zapdos cannot live, and my Zapdos died. So I'm going to Victini. He's obviously afraid of it, being that Victini carries the most powerful move in the game after super effectiveness and stab, which is V-Create. So predicting his switch into Heatran, I just go for U-turn, and even if he wants to stay in, it'll still do alright damage, as I can then get switch advantage. So I'm going to go to Machamp because it's a favorable matchup, being him being a steel type and me being a fighting type. On his switch, I'm going to go for Substitute. And he goes into his Starmie. And he's just going to go for Psychic next turn, as I'm going to go for Stone Edge to get some good damage off before I switch out, because obviously I don't want to stay in on the Starmie. So he goes for Psychic. I do go for Stone Edge, and I thought the Stone Edge would have a chance of taking it out, but this Starmie takes it really well, and it's very much surprising. It does just over 50%. Stone Edge from an Adamant Max Attack Machamp, who has, well, the highest base attack for close combat. It has the most powerful close combat in the game. It has base 130 attack, which means that its Stone Edge is also going to be very strong. But it does not do that much to Starmie. Predicting another Psychic, I do go into Metagross. My great Metagross set, that works really well. And I'm just going to start setting up as he goes for Recover, which gets him back to near full health, but not quite. And Starmie is actually one of the few Pokemon that resists both of my offensive moves. But Starmie is not bulky enough to take an Adamant Max Attack Metagross with +1/+2 attack. So I go for Agility now. I'm faster than it. And he actually switches out as I'm going to start setting up Hone Claws. He goes into his Skarmory. And here's actually where I get a bit of luck. I do go for another Hone Claws, and the second I pressed Hone Claws, I was kicking myself because Skarmory's run Whirlwind, and I did not want to get Whirlwinded. And he's most likely just going to Whirlwind. But this, as you can see, the Skarmory actually goes for Spikes. I don't know what he was thinking, but hey, it allows me to get off a Dynamic Punch, which, here's the luck part. I get a crit. Well, one I hit. Even at +2 accuracy, it doesn't have 100% accuracy. I hit, I get the Confusion, and I get him to hit himself in Confusion. Oh, and I get a crit. So, that was a bit lucky on my part, but hey, that's why I run Dynamic Punch. It comes with the set. Metagross is just a boss. That's what happens when you face Metagross. You shouldn't even try to face Pokemon so powerful with that big damage. And I'm just going to go for Meteor Mash, which does have 100% accuracy at this point, and it will take the Skarmory down. And he brings his Salmage, which shows me that he is Intimidate, which means he's most likely not Scarfed. And but my Clear Body resists that Intimidate, so I'm still going to be at normal attack. So my Metagross is a boss. I'm going to go for Meteor Mash, just take it out clean. I do outspeed because of my +2 speed. And this is basically just awesome. I'm going to Dynamic Punch. He's actually going to avoid the Dynamic Punch and go for Lava Plume. Now this does a crap load. I know Heatrans have base 130 special attack, which is really good. But Metagross is very bulky, and he was special defensive, so I assume that he might not have much in the special attacking department. But that does a lot. That almost kills me, even without a crit. So, and he also gets the Burn, which is whittling me down and will take me down next turn. So Metagross cannot successfully sweep. So that's where he gets a bit lucky there. So it's a double down, and he has 2 Pokemon left, being his Starmie and Roserade. So I have Salamence. He's absolutely nothing to take my Salamence. So I'm just going to go for Outrage. And Salamence is just going to clean the house. And that is going to be a good game, MrKirby4. And Salamence going to get the Moxie. I also want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're not from this country, then maybe you don't either know what Thanksgiving is, or you don't celebrate it. But either way, happy Thanksgiving. It was this past Thursday, and I will see you all later. So please like. It helps me a lot. It helps my channel get known. More people come, better content, good things happen. Please subscribe. It does the same thing as liking, just to a higher extent. And please comment, help me improve my narrations, improve the content, and everyone will be happy with la la la's fun unicorns, rainbows. Goodbye, YouTube. Alright.